With only 2 episodes to go until the season finale, from episode 8 is just around the corner. And with Kenny almost being killed and Fatima finding out that she has powers that connect her to Smiley, I feel like things are about to get to the darkest levels and the most intertwined that they've ever been. There was a trailer for the next episode that was released that I broke down, but now I wanted to share my theories and predictions on the main plot points that I think are going to happen when the show returns. So, let's get into it. Here is from Season 4 Episode 8 Theories Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The title for the next episode is Heavy as the Head, and the synopsis is, A Dangerous Plan Begins to Take Shape. How much is Boyd willing to risk for the chance to get everyone home? Fatima and Henry find themselves at 2 very different and disturbing crossroads, and Victor helps Tabitha and Ethan prepare for the worst. Most of this was actually seen during the trailer, but I'm going to discuss each of these points in detail below. One of the main focuses in the next episode is most likely going to be centered around Henry's mind fracturing and believing what isn't actually true, and Fatima's mind being able to connect to Smiley's. This is what the synopsis means when it says 2 very different disturbing crossroads. Fatima is almost gaining an upper hand because she holds some level of power. Whereas Henry, he's the complete opposite as he's weakening. We know that the man in yellow put his blood inside of Henry's drink a couple of episodes back, which is now causing him to hallucinate and see things that aren't actually there. For example, he was shown that he was in some kind of coma, that he woke up and was led to believe that when he's in the town, it's actually some kind of dream, and that he just needs to wake up. Sophia did say to him, "What if this was all just a dream?" A couple of episodes back, and it seems like she's now trying to convince him that it is. With Henry being somebody in this season that people are starting to lose their trust in because he's been acting out following him finding out what happened to his wife Miranda when she was eaten by the man in yellow, if he now begins to go around blurting out that this is all just a dream and that everybody needs to wake up, exactly like what Abby did before. I feel people are going to start to view him as crazy and like he simply lost the plot. Victor actually called his father weak a couple of episodes back, and sadly the man in yellow has preyed on Henry's weakness. I actually think this could cause a couple of different things to happen. In the trailer, we heard gunshots, which makes me think that Henry could be so convinced that people need to wake up that he might almost do a repeat of what Abby wanted to do if he ends up finding a loaded weapon. I wouldn't put it past Sophia setting one up for him and getting him to stumble across it. Or I could sadly see Henry succumbing to the plague that Sophia has put inside of his mind. The way that I could see him succumbing to it would be if he fulfilled what Victor said happened in the previous cycle of the town when the man walked off the roof of Colony House. I feel it was just too coincidental for Victor to just simply mention that as he was up there. So, I think Henry might walk off of it with the belief that if he dies in there, then he'd wake up in reality. But, as we know, that won't be the case. And sadly, Henry will be the man in yellow's newest victim. When it comes to Fatima, following her connection with Smiley being uncovered, I believe we're going to see a more frightened version of her coming to light and maybe Smiley looking to connect with her, as we did hear her say that he can feel her too. However, even though she's frightened, I feel we'll see a version of the character that'll feel like she can be useful. Now that we know that she can directly impact Smiley and his attacks, hinting at some kind of control, it would prove to be advantageous to Boyd and the plan that he's going to be carrying out. I also think that she'll realize that the golem actually helped, and it's not going to help in a physical way, but it'll help in a way where she's able to amplify her powers in some kind of way. All it takes is believing. After all, the meaning of her crossroad is that she won't truly know how to utilize this power. And whilst it is powerful, it can be a weakness too, because Smiley could connect with her at points. When it comes to Boyd, I feel we're going to see him altering his plan following what happened with Kenny. I just don't see a world where he goes blindly into the caves with no protection based on something that Jade saw on a trip. The whole point of testing the totem was to see if they could have some kind of protection against the monsters. And with that failing, Boyd is going to be reluctant to send people into the monster's home because he'll know that they'll have an advantage and they'll basically be moving through it blindly. This is where I think Fatima is going to come into the picture. If she's able to communicate with Smiley, then she might be able to connect with him and work out where he is in the caves. And if he's aware of them being in there, we know that the bones are what Boyd and Jade are specifically looking for, as it's been hinted that they could be the key to getting out of there. So, if they are, then the monsters aren't going to give them up easily. I actually wonder if the bones are the key to their immortality as well. We know that they sacrificed people in order to gain their immortality. So, I wonder if the bones are removed from the caves and the resting place, then that impacts the curse that basically allowed them to become immortal and transform into the monsters. Like Henry, we've seen Boyd's mind gradually become more and more fragile over the course of the season. The town has been playing tricks on him, such as the ring that he found, the photo that he saw in the Viewmaster, and also when Abby's hand came out of the grave when he was visiting her. So, it very much feels like the town is going to continue to try and get its hold on Boyd, especially as he looks to develop his plan. With Victor finding the teeth in the most recent episode, each tooth most likely represents a death that the man in yellow has caused. So, that'll wreck Victor's mind and mental state even more. We heard Victor saying to Ethan how he wanted him to learn everything about the town as possible because if the cycle repeated itself and left the young boy alive again, then it would be Ethan and he'd be all alone. So, he wanted him to have some kind of protection. So, that makes me think that in the next episode, we'll see Victor teaching Ethan everything that he knows about the town and also the man in yellow. I also wonder if this will be where the hunt for the Lake of Tears begins to rise to the surface again and he'll mention that he saw Jim by the RV. It does feel like that plot point has just kind of been pushed to the side since the earlier episodes in the season, but surely it has to come back to the forefront, especially now we're towards the end of season 4. I do also wonder if Victor's mental state will deteriorate slightly because if the cycle is about to repeat itself, then he'll be fully aware of the fact that he'll be dying soon, and the aftermath of the massacre that he saw taking place could be on the horizon, and he won't want to end up like many of the residents that he ended up seeing before. I also wonder if Henry does end up dying, could there be a sense of guilt within Victor because he wasn't there for him when he truly needed him?